Hi, I'm gonna kind of finish up doing some no-nonsense flat washes on this little project, and then I will probably do start to layer some additional flat washes on some of the existing shapes. Let's see. Been going with this sort of secondary triad palette, so greens, oranges, and purples, sort of. Let's see, sort of a fun orangey yellow. I think that's Indian yellow by M. Graham. Let's see here. If you're looking for more kind of description of what I'm doing, go ahead and look at the earlier ones. Yeah, I'm going to focus more on just having some fun painting and not worrying too much about the blabbing part. Violet there. Let's see. Maybe I'm going to mix in some Hansa yellow light. It's an interesting spot with I think what was there was kind of a mix of some phthalo green, blue shade, as well as some peacock blue. So that may seem a little redundant, but that's okay. Let's see. It seems like an orange kind of thing should be next, or does it? Maybe something a little bit more yellowy orange. Fun to sort of alter things just a little bit. So this is back to my azo yellow. So now that is sort of some Indian yellow, which yellow is really not a great name for that color, in my humble opinion. But this is even more yellowy. Let's do that here. as I was getting lower, so started drying a little too much. I was kind of fascinated with how, no, never mind. A bit more. Ew. I am gonna rotate here. Angle I have better control for my tip. It's kind of fun. Green. I think I'm gonna play a little bit also with going even a little bit more towards the blue side of green. And I want to do that one, so I'm going to need a little bigger brush. How about you? And this green that's already there is nothing wrong with that green, but here I'm going to make it so that's just sort of one thing, one mix of this bluish green. And yeah, cool. There's my initial blob. That might turn into my official word. So there is sort of this going back and forth between just bringing in plenty of color for the whole area and then refining, dealing with some detail. But it's that part about after doing some detail where you go back and re-wet the whole thing that often gets missed. Get so focused on your detail that you just lose track of making sure that the whole shape is consistently sort of going around the top there, because this is a bit of an odd angle, but I wasn't loving that so much. I'll call that okay. And then this last one, I just like mixing things up a little bit here. Let me see, what if I did some, what if? Kidding aside, I wonder what if. It's one of the best things to say. I'm gonna mix a little bit of Quin Pink with a little bit of Quin Burnt Orange. So it makes this sort of burnt orange. It's leaning more towards red. Wow, I didn't do my thing at all, did I? Sometimes it's a little bit driven by the shape and the angle of something you're painting. And by my thing, I didn't really plop down some color first. Just started brushing. rectangle seems a little bit too far from the other one, so I think I will adjust the shape of that one. Cool, there's that. That's a fun combination. In fact, it's so fun. I think I'm going to start coming back over some things, and I think I'm going to come over this big middle shape and do a glaze flat wash with that combo, and that I'll use my biggest number 12 round brush here. Let's see. I'm going to mix in a little bigger area here. And a little more concentrated paint. So it will be both a little bit darker and a little bit more intense. But I'm going to bring in some of my Quinn pink. And I'm looking and thinking to myself, is that enough? And maybe not quite enough. So when I bring more water, and I just diluted it, so depending on how much I really want to have the darkness exactly, I could sort of figure that out, but I'm just kind of having fun going for it here. So I will bring in my my blob, and then I'll start thinking about the specific shape. So this is glazing on because there's an existing layer of paint already. Glazing, the term glazing gets used in a lot of different ways, sometimes inconsistently. But for me, the one that makes the most sense is related to a donut. Because who doesn't like a donut? And just a little glazed donut, a little frosting on top, a little, not too thick, not too thin layer of yumminess on top of something that's already finished cooking. Let's see, I haven't gone up here for a while. One could certainly make the argument for glazing, especially that it's even more helpful to make even fewer strokes, because depending on what paint the bottom layer is, it can reactivate pretty easily or not that easily at all. Quinacridones seem to be good about not reactivating. There's a lot of quinacridone colors out there. but they are quite nice for glazing. The kind of into making that one kind of maybe kind of intense yellow green. So I'm going to bring in a bunch of my Hansa Yellow Light over to this green mix. That was a decent amount of that, wasn't it? A little bit more water to make sure it's going to flow okay. And then go into my shape. This is probably, yeah, sure enough. This is going to be a subtle graded wash because I'm sort of mixing in a little bit of darker green that wasn't in my initial mix. So there's a subtle color shift going on here. So subtle you might not even really realize it, but those are oftentimes I think are kind of the best kind. It is a little bit darker, so if I did do some layers up here to keep making it wet, it would adjust to the sort of the darker version. And and in fact, I'll try to stay consistent here. I think that's good, James, teacher. But it was drying a little, so it's taking a little bit more to get it to cascade down. But if you could tell there, that color that I introduced was, even though it really didn't look that different within the swatch, within the shape, when I introduced it up there, you could tell it seemed a decent amount darker green. So now I got a bunch of fun watery color here. I'm looking a little bit over here and I see that it's truth be told, I think there's a brush hair that's hiding out down there. So the question is, should I fuss or not? It is making it so it's sort of drying inconsistently. Oh look, I think that got it. Oftentimes it can help to, I'm going to try to even it out here even a little bit more. This is a synthetic brush, so it picks up things a little better. But let's see, I do have some color in that brush, so if I was going to use it on something else, I would want to make sure that that color didn't go into this shape. Well, let's see. I'm gonna, this is pretty much just some peacock blue. I'm going to bring it in to this shape and glaze on a flat wash and just sort of adjust it. I didn't mix up very much, so that was not the smartest thing I've ever done. I'm seeing if I can stretch it out, and this is a time when it's easy to get streaks. Yeah. I wonder I feel like adjusting the edge of this. This is probably drying, but I'm going to try it anyways. Yeah, that was maybe not the smartest thing I've ever done. Oh well. Quick undo. Let's see. What if this orange right here is a it's called Azo orange. What if I mixed some of that with my Quinn burnt orange? So sort of got an in-between kind of thing. It's interesting. I'm going to do it on this shape that's probably, that would be good to use a little bit bigger brush, but it'll be a good example of sometimes you don't always have the choice. And as long as you keep going and bringing back plenty of watery color, you can get away with using a pretty small brush for a pretty large area. I'm gonna do one more here for this video and then take a little break. The this one here that was magenta, I believe, quinacridone magenta by Core. Pretty impressive paint, especially strong concentrations and glazes. But I'm just going to glaze a little bit of ultramarine blue to bring it over to a purple violet. I don't know. Maybe it was okay, a little bit more red. Oh, wait a minute, that's called charging. That's not this video. That was extra bonus material. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry, and yeah, I'm not sure how much more I'll do on this, but practice your flat washes. That's the point. Get real good at them, and then part of the fun is well, being confident with those is very helpful in sort of doing all sorts of other things. A lot of times it seems to start with understanding how flat wash is going to work. Some odd things going on up here, but okay.